So I think I'm going to do this video in the style of my older commentary videos because frankly, I don't think putting in pictures of Neil deGrasse Tyson and putting in emojis everywhere is really going to fit what I'm talking about here. You see, this is the 100th video on my channel and it is a small milestone, but unfortunately there's not much to celebrate because here's the thing. I started this channel for 3 reasons initially. First of all, I like making videos. I've always liked making videos. I just generally find it a fun thing to do. Second of all, I wanted an outlet to talk about my opinions, my problems, my concerns, and YouTube is a good platform to do that kind of thing. And finally, I made this channel when I was 16, and at the time, I had a really hard time finding a job, okay? In my town, the job market was just really bad for some reason. Like, most places either ignored my applications or straight up rejected them. And so I was like, hey, let's try making some money on YouTube. Now, I know that in order to monetize your videos and in order to make an AdSense account, you have to be over 18. But like I've heard of people like having their parents make the AdSense account. Essentially, I would have figured something out, okay? And that sounds all nice in theory, but unfortunately, to this day, despite me making videos for 4.5 years at this point, I still have not been monetized. And the reason for that is because a few years ago, YouTube implemented this really stupid, dumbass policy where in order to monetize your channel, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and you need to have at least 4,000 watch hours. A policy which I think is completely ridiculous and stupid because getting 1,000 subscribers is not as simple as people might think, okay? The way that I've gotten most of my subscribers on this channel is because I've had individual videos blow up and get tons of views, and people subscribe to my channel through those. But that's by far not every single video that I make, okay? Like, I thought my previous video was going to do well and, blow up and get me lots of views and subscribers, but unfortunately it did not, okay? It blew up for like 1 hour. It got 33 views or something. Then the next hour, it dropped back down to like 4 or 5. So the algorithm quite literally flipped me off with that. And that's just one example of how hard it is to, get that kind of subscriber count. And I find it insulting that, I put all this effort into my videos and, I try to make them look good. And I've been doing this consistently for 4.5 years. But YouTube is basically saying, well, we don't care about that because you didn't meet this arbitrary threshold we've imposed. And so you don't deserve to make money on our platform. Fuck you. Because that's really how this comes off. And YouTube, like, they're frankly just being incredibly greedy and elitist and, unfair to their smaller creators, okay? They think that I do not deserve to be compensated for my hard work just because I do not have, this one specific number that they're insisting for me to have. Like, it's just incredibly ignorant and stupid. Now, I'm not making this video to beg for donations. Hell, YouTube won't even allow me to receive donations because even though I have 500 subscribers, that's not good enough for them, and they want me to have 3,000 watch hours as well. Like, dude, I don't even get 3,000 views on most of my videos, and you want me to have 3,000 watch hours? Like, how the hell do you expect me to even do that? And well, why am I complaining about this now? Because frankly, I do not like where I currently stand in life, okay? I am entering my 4th year of university, and that sounds like a pretty normal, mundane thing, except I will not be graduating at the end of this 4th year. In fact, where I currently stand, I am 2 years behind in my degree. Now, this is for a number of reasons, partially because I have not had a full-time course load for most of my semesters. I tried that 2 times, and both times it failed miserably, so I have not, been mentally prepared to do that again. Part of it is because I switched majors, and part of that is because the stuff that I'm studying right now is just so batshit insanely hard that I simply do not always succeed in passing all the classes that I need to pass, okay? For example, like, I'm trying to major in mechanical engineering right now, and there's this one class I have to take for that called statics, and well, this is currently my 3rd attempt at that course because it's only taught by one professor at my university, and he has this incredibly stupid fucking rule where in order to pass the class, you have to get at least a combined average of 70 on the 2 midterms and the final exam, okay? So on all 3 of those, you have to get an average of at least 70 when you, like, sum up the averages of all 3 of those. And it's incredibly dumb because, well, when I first took this class last year, I did well on the first midterm, but then the second one I failed completely, okay? And then at that point, I had exactly a 70 average on those 2, so I had to get at least a 70 on the final to pass. And I was under so much stress and pressure that I completely failed the final as well, and as a result did not pass the course. Then the next semester I tried retaking that class, but in that case, like, basically the same thing happened, okay? Like, I actually did badly on the first midterm this time, like really badly. Then on the second one I did okay-ish. And then on the final, I did get a 71 on the final, but because I did so badly on those first 2 midterms, I failed the class that time as well. In fact, I actually got an even worse grade than I did the first time. And Now I'm trying to take this class again for the third time, but considering how the last two attempts went, I really don't know how it's going to work out this time. And my professor's reasoning for this whole rule is that he thinks that homeworks are a bad way of assessing knowledge, and he thinks that exams are the only way to do that, which I completely disagree with. I think that, in fact, we have too many exams in college, and we should be gradually replacing them with group projects and write-ups and reports. But, he doesn't think that way, and for some reason, nobody else, has a problem with this, so there's not much I can do about it. And, I remember this year in particular, this semester that I'm doing right now, at the beginning, he gave this very pretentious speech where he's like, when people cut corners in engineering, they get people killed. And so I don't want you cutting corners in my class because I don't want you to, get people killed, and I don't want to be responsible for that. Bro, nobody's going to get people killed because they did badly on your shitty statics exams, okay? Get off your fucking high horse. And he's treating engineering like it's goddamn pre-med, okay? He's treating his course like it's some kind of crazy major rite of passage where, if you don't do well in this course, you don't deserve to have an engineering degree. And, it's just so dumb. And, of course, he barely gives any extra credit. He gives, 2 points on the final exam, but that's really only useful if you're, a hair's length away from getting a passing score. He doesn't curve, and he says that, I don't curve because, your grade should be determined on your own performance and not on other people's performances. But what he's really trying to say is that I'm such a big, annoying hard ass that, I don't think you deserve any opportunities whatsoever to get out of a bad grade. And of course, he also makes a big deal about catching cheaters. And, he always says, if I catch you cheating, I'll make sure you get the worst possible punishment. And, look, I don't cheat because I want to do everything honestly and legitimately, but why is he surprised that people are cheating in his course? Yeah, if you're being a hard ass, people will find ways to fight back against your hard assery, and some of them might do it in, not very ethical ways. But you really have nobody else to blame but yourself for this. If you didn't have all these stupid hard-ass requirements, people wouldn't be cheating in your course. Yeah, I know, it's a crazy idea, but that's how it is. Literally ask any other professor that does not have these bullshit, ridiculous requirements in their courses. And that's just one example of how, hard my studies have been, okay? For example, there's also another class I have to take called Strength of Materials, and it's also only taught by this professor, and he has that rule in that class as well, so that's going to be fun when I have to take that. There's also this other class called Dynamics, which is insanely hard. I tried taking it last semester, but I had to drop it because, well, I didn't know what I was doing. Everything was so insanely hard. I was failing all my assignments. And, yeah, I'm going to try retaking it next semester, but I don't know how it's going to go because, it was so hard and confusing the first time that, I don't know if I'll be able to succeed in that course. And yeah, it's just been an incredibly rough ride, man. And, I feel like people underestimate just how hard college is because it's not just studying and doing homework, okay? It's properly studying, properly doing homework because it's not just graded on completion like it was in high school. You have to always be, on top of your assignments. You have to always, stay on task, on time, on target with everything. You cannot really afford to fall behind. You have to be at, peak mental performance for 3.5 months straight, okay? That's a pretty goddamn difficult thing to do. And I always see these whiny assholes complaining oh my god, college is so hard, I can't take it anymore. I graduated in 1 semester and it's just too much. Oh, you think 1 semester is bad? Try 2 years, dumbass. It's just so annoying. And, at this point, it's also a financial thing because my parents, they're starting to complain that because I have to retake all these classes that, I'm being a financial burden on them. And so, now I feel guilty, basically. And, things just don't look really good right now. And yes, I could switch majors to something easier, but frankly, I don't want to do that because then I'd have to restart everything from scratch because none of my credits would transfer, and I really don't want to spend another 4 years at university dragging my ass to lecture halls and, worrying about homework and assignments and, whether or not I'm going to do well on the next exam or whatever. It's just, I'm tired of all this bullshit, okay? I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And unfortunately, I don't have many other alternatives, okay? I can't join the military because I have a dual citizenship. And yes, I am working on renouncing that second citizenship, but that whole process is going to take another year at least, if not longer. So that's not an option anytime soon. Also, I'm afraid of flying, as I've mentioned before. And in the military, you have to fly a lot to get from base to base, even if you're not in the Air Force. So that's also a big discouraging factor. I don't really know if I can do a trade because, first of all, I don't even know where to get started with that. I don't know how to learn trades. And the thing is, trades are physically exhausting to people. I've heard of people in the trades literally getting arthritis by the time they're 40, okay? And some people are willing to make that sacrifice, and I respect them for it, but personally, I am not, okay? And, aside from that, I don't really know what else to do, okay? And what annoys me is that, there's many things I want to do in life, okay? But for most of them, there's, I don't have the resources to actually make them happen. Like, for example, like I've thought about, getting into video game development because I think there's a lot of video games out there that either need a remake or a sequel, and I would love to be on a team of people that actually makes that happen. But like, I don't know anybody in the video game development industry. I don't have any experience with video game development, so like, I just can't do that, Or like, I'd like to be a successful CEO and make billions of dollars, but again, I don't have really many connections. I don't have much money. I don't know if I'll be able to get a degree, and usually CEOs have those, and usually in engineering. So, that's probably not going to work out. I'd like to maybe be an officer in the military someday, but, you need a college degree, you forget that. And again, I don't know if I'll get one of those. So, that can't work for now, and, maybe even bigger stuff. Like, maybe I'd want to like run for office and maybe even become president one day. But again, for that, you need money, connections, preferably experience. And, I don't have any of that stuff. And what I'm worried about is that it might be the same with my degree, but for a different reason. Because also a lot of things, like, I only want to do them on like a surface level, but like when it actually comes down to learning how to do it, that's when like I don't feel like doing it anymore. Okay, I've tried learning coding multiple times throughout my life. I've talked about this before, but every time I've tried doing it, like I got bored within a week and just abandoned the whole thing. And with engineering, like, it might be the same thing because, yeah, in theory, it would be cool to like design cars and turbines and shit, but like, I don't know if I'm willing to actually go through the process to learn how to do all of that stuff, okay? Because so far, like, I really have not had much interest in my classes, and all of them have been incredibly annoying and miserable to do, okay? So, like, that's where I currently stand, and that's what my concern is with engineering. It's just annoying because, like, I want to do all this stuff, but, like, there's always a reason why I can't do it, and so all these things just remain fantasies that can never materialize. Like, that's what I'm upset about. I feel like, a muscle car without gasoline, where like, yeah, in theory it's cool and powerful and stuff, but in practice, like, it doesn't do shit, okay? And speaking of cars, guys, I don't even have one of those, okay? Like, if I had to drop out of college and find a job somewhere, I wouldn't even have a car to actually get to that place. Or if I had to be homeless for a little bit, I wouldn't have a car to sleep in. And like, my parents aren't interested in letting me get a car because, it is their right to do that, but it certainly creates obstacles for me. Because, for example, when I was graduating high school, both my parents got new cars, and we had this old 2005 Toyota Camry in perfect condition, okay? Well, okay, the paint on the outside was peeling slightly, but aside from that, no engine problems. The interior was fine. It only had like 120,000 miles on it, which is pretty good for a 15-year-old car. It's like not really that much. Generally speaking, it wasn't in great condition, okay? I mean, it's a Toyota. Like, usually they don't really, go bad that fast. But my parents didn't give it to me. They just sold it off to some dealership for $500. And, I've tried buying a car myself in the past. You can go watch that video if you want. But that completely failed as well. And so, like, I just feel like I'm completely at rock bottom right now. I don't even have, like, the most basic stuff to get started with anything. However, YouTube is, like, probably the only thing where I like doing it, I know how to do it, and I actually, am willing to do it. But because of these random, requirements that YouTube is imposing on me, like, they're making it really goddamn hard for me to actually do that. And yes, I know that, like, in order to, like, actually be, like, super successful on YouTube, like, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye levels of successful, like, you do have to kind of get lucky for that. But it's not really unrealistic for me to, like, build my channel to have, like, 80,000 subscribers, maybe, 70 or 60,000, and just have it, like, as a reliable source of income, okay? But with YouTube standing in my way like this, it's making it pretty goddamn hard. Because you guys have to understand, like, if college doesn't work out, this is it. This is my plan B. Plan C is to go fucking live under a bridge and die of a fentanyl overdose. And so, again, YouTube needs to stop being, a pain in the ass and actually let me, make this thing work. And I know you guys are going to say that, like, even if I did have monetization, like, with only 500 subscribers, I would be making literal pennies, which is true, but you underestimate how much of a motivator money is for me, okay? Because, yeah, I mean, first it might be pennies, but then after a few weeks, it might be 25 cents, okay? It might be quarters. Then after that, it might be dollars, then tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. Do you get what I'm saying here? Like, it would work quite well for me now to be able to build up my income and actually start making a reasonable amount of money. And, I can definitely, like, see myself being able to do that if YouTube stops, being a pain in the ass like this, okay? And, I know people are always saying, like, kids nowadays, they don't want to be working. They just want to, like, be TikTokers and content creators. But for me, like, content creation, I just don't really see anything else that I could reasonably do, okay? Like, this legitimately seems like one of my only options, okay? And so I really want to make it work. And I'm annoyed that YouTube is, making it hard for me to make it work, okay? Because I'm in a pretty precarious situation right now. And, it's definitely very concerning, okay? And that's basically why I'm making this video. But yeah, that wraps it up, guys. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do consider hitting that like and subscribe button. As always, this was your captain speaking, and I'll go back to making my regular style of videos in the next one. See ya.